students. Today we are going to discuss about the norma occipitalis. Under the norma occipitalis, we are seeing the definition, shape, and what are the bones are involved in the formation norma vertica occipitalis, and sutures. Those sutures are the four sutures and external occipital protuberance and superior nuchal line, highest nuchal line, and masted foramina and occipital foramina. First we are seeing the theoretically. Then we are going to discuss the practical. First, what is the norma? Definition of the norma occipital. When the skull is studied from the posterior aspect, that we call as it is known as a norma occipitalis. Definition. And shape. In the shape, see here, shape. This is the norma occipitalis. The upper part is the convex part and the lower part is the smooth part, flat part. Upper part is the convex upward direction and the lower part is the flat. Shape of the norma occipitalis. Now bones. How many bones are here? Here paired bones, again unpaired bones. Two are the paired bones here, parietal bone and parietal bone. Mastoid bone, mastoid, and third one is called the occipital. Totally we are having the three bones involved in the formation of the norma occipitalis. Two are the paired bones, those are the parietal bone and the mastoid part of the temporal bone, and one is the unpaired bone, that is the occipital bone. Next topic is the sutures. Sutures, here the four sutures are present. First we talk about this suture. This suture between the parietal bone and the temporal bone. So this suture name is called as the parieto-mastoid suture up to this part. Parieto-mastoid suture between the parietal bone and the mastoid part of the temporal bone. And second suture between the occipital bone and the mastoid part of the temporal bone. That is called the occipito-mastoid suture. Occipito-mastoid suture. The next is the third one we can see here, the small part, that is the posterior part of the sagittal suture. Already the sagittal suture discussed in the norma verticalis. So this is also complete. Now next, the important suture is here is the lambdoid suture. The lambdoid suture present between the parietal bone and occipital bone. And this suture end, where it is end? It end where the junction of the parieto-occipital and parieto-mastoid and occipito-mastoid. There the junction is within that junction point. This lambdoid suture is ends. So these are the sutures of the norma occipitalis. How many sutures we have completely? Four sutures. One is the parieto-mastoid, occipito-mastoid, sagittal, and the lambdoid suture. So sutures will be completed. Next is called the external occipital protuberance. External occipital protuberance. It is the midline. It is a midline prominence of the occipital bone. That prominent part we call as a external occipital protuberance. It is a just mark junction between the upper part we call as a head and the lower part we call as a neck. So this is my external occipital protuberance. Above part we call as a head and below part we call as a neck. This is a junction of the head and neck. And this protuberance, which is the highest point, in this one the highest point is present. The highest point name is called as a inion. Inion is the highest point of the external occipital protuberance. Now this external occipital protuberance divided into the two parts, upper part and the lower part. Upper part, one muscle get originated. That muscle name is called as a trapezius in the upper part. And the lower part, one ligament is started from in this place, that is called a ligamentum nuchae. So lower part is called a ligamentum nuchae. So these are the attachments of the external occipital protuberance. Now next is the superior nuchal line. These are the curved bony ridges. See here. This is a superior nuchal line. These are the bony curved ridges extending laterally or either side by the external occipital protuberance. And these lines also demarcating the division between the head and the neck. Like in the external occipital protuberance, it is also upper part is called a head and lower part is the neck. Nuchal lines also upper part is the head and lower part is the neck. Superior nuchal line divided into the two parts, medial 1/3 part and lateral 2/3 part. So in the medial 1/3 part, one muscle get originated. This is the trapezius. This trapezius origin extending from the in this direction. And lateral 2/3 part, two muscles get inserted here. One muscle is the sternocleidomastoid and second muscle is called as a splenius capitis. Here sternocleidomastoid is the above and splenius capitis the below. So this is about the superior nuchal line. And the next is called as the highest nuchal lines. Highest nuchal line, it is not always present. If it is present, it present 1 centimeter above the superior nuchal line. It starts, it beginnings from the external occipital protuberance It is beginning at the external occipital protuberance and 1 centimeter above the superior nuchal line. Again, it is also divided into the two parts, middle part and the lateral part. This is the middle part and this is the lateral part. And the middle part providing the attachment of the one of the layer of the scalp, that is called epicranial aponeurosis. Total scalp having the 5 layers are present. Out of 5 layers, one of the layer is called epicranial aponeurosis attached with the medial part. And come to the lateral part, one muscle is attached here. That muscle from the occipital to the coming toward the frontal side. So this is also muscles of the scalp, occipital to the frontal, occipitofrontalis. So the muscle attached to the lateral side. So this is about the highest nuchal line. It is not always present. Now come to about the mastoid foramina. See here, two foraminers is there. Near to the occipito-mastoid suture, one foramina is present. That foramina name is called as mastoid foramina. If this foramina is passing inside the skull, means in the cranium, and opening into the cranium, one sulcus. That sulcus name is called as sigmoid sulcus, and one artery and one vein is passing through this foramina. The artery name is called as a occipital artery, meningeal branch of occipital artery, and the vein is the emissary vein. The both structures are passing through the mastoid foramina. Lastly, we having the occipital point. We know this is the external occipital protuberance. The highest point we call as the inion. Above the inion, one more point is present that is exactly opposite to this point. This is name is called as the glabella. From exactly opposite to the glabella, one more point is present in the midline. That point name is called as the occipital point. Now, one more point after the occipital point, that is called as the interparietal bones. These interparietal bones, it occasionally present. If it is present in this commonest part of the occipital bone, and the bone shape is the triangular in shape. And here suture is present. This is not a suture, and this is not a junction. It is representing the membranous part of the occipital bone. Failure to the fusion of the occipital bone. This is also occipital bone, and this one also occipital. This bone is failure to the fusion with the rest of the occipital bone. Those bones we call as a interparietal bones. So this is about the norma occipitalis theory class. Now we will see in the practical. Now we are seeing the practically norma occipitalis. When the skull is viewed from the posterior aspect, that we call as a norma occipitalis. In the norma occipitalis shape, the upper part is the convex. See, it is a convex, and the lower part is the flat. This is the shape. And how many bones are involved here? See, two are the parietal bones, and mastoid part of the temporal bones. Two are the mastoid part of temporal bones, and one is the occipital bone. These three bones are involved in the formation of norma occipitalis. Now the sutures. The sutures, the first suture is called as between the parietal bone and mastoid part of the temporal bone. This suture name is the parieto-mastoid suture. And one more suture between the occipital bone and mastoid part of the temporal bone. This suture name is the occipito-mastoid suture. And here one more suture is there, that is called a posterior part of the sagittal suture. Already we are discussing the norma verticalis. And lastly, lambdoid suture. The lambdoid suture start at the ending point of the posterior sagittal suture, and it is the direction going toward the downward direction, and it ends where is the parieto-mastoid and occipito-mastoid suture. The junction point, the lambdoid suture is ends. So this is about the sutures of the norma occipitalis. And the next point is the external occipital protuberance. See, this point is called a highest point in the or midline protuberance we called as a external occipital protuberance. This external occipital protuberance demarcation, it marked the junction between the head and the neck. Clear? And in this one, you can see here the highest point is there. This highest point of the external occipital protuberance, that we call as a inion. And this external occipital protuberance divided into the two parts, upper part and the lower part. In the upper part, one muscle get this is called external occipital protuberance. In the upper part, one muscle get originated, that is the trapezius, and the lower part, one ligament is attached, that is called the ligamentum nuchae. Now next is their nuchal lines. So from external occipital protuberance to lines, the curved ridges are extending. This we call as a superior nuchal line. Again, the superior nuchal line also demarcating between the head and the neck, and it is divided into the medial 1/3 part and the lateral 2/3 part. From here to here is a medial 1/3. From in this place to here is called a lateral 2/3 part. In this part is the one muscle get originated, that is a trapezius, and there is the two muscles get inserted. One is the sternocleidomastoid and splenius capitis. The next, from this point to, it is not always present. If it is present, it is a 1 centimeter above the superior nuchal line, that we call as the highest nuchal line. See, this is the highest nuchal line. Highest nuchal line present here, and see in this bone there is no highest nuchal lines. It is superior nuchal line and the inferior nuchal line. There is no highest nuchal line. The highest nuchal line also again divided into the medial 1/3 part and lateral 2/3 part. In the medial 1/3 part, one aponeurosis is attached, that is called epicranial aponeurosis, and the lateral 2/3 part, one muscle is get attached, that is called occipitofrontalis. So external occipital protuberance is finished, superior nuchal line and the highest nuchal line. Then next, this is called the inion. See, this is a point is a inion. Above the inion, in the midline, one more protuberance is present, that is called the occipital point. It is exactly opposite to the glabella. So one foramina is present, that foramina name is the mastoid foramina. It present near to the occipitomastoid suture. In this foramina, one artery passes, that artery name is called the occipital artery, and one vein is passes, that vein is the emissary vein, and this mastoid foramina opening into the posterior cranial fossa in the sigmoid sulcus. So this is the depression is called as sigmoid sulcus. Here, see in this one, interparietal bones. These bones present in the squamous part of the occipital bone here, and these bones are in the triangular in shape. It's completely the triangular in shape, and this is not a suture. It is not a suture. Clear? It is a membranous part of the occipital bone. It representing the membranous part of the occipital bone. It is failure to the fusion with the rest of the occipital bone. These type of bones we call as a interparietal bones. These are occasionally present. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt, ask.